Good morning, günaydın, god morgon. My name is Magnus, I come from Sweden, and I'm 53 years old. But I have to tell you, on a day like this, I feel like 23 tops. Okay, that's a bit crazy, you may think. But I do tell myself, I started my first 20 years in life being young. And the past 20 years I spent with young people in school. So I think that should count for something. I can honestly say that I remember what it is being young, or what it's like. I remember the thoughts I had. I remember feeling relevant, maybe even important. I know for one thing, if anyone had asked me to, let's say, help save the world, I would readily have agreed, even though I knew that no one would ask me probably. When I was a teenager, I had loads of interests. I took an interest in anything really. History, philosophy, nature, the outdoors, sports, more history, more sports, you name it. When I talk to my friends, we like to discuss things that were important to us. And back in the days, we're talking 1970s, 1980s here, there were things like war and peace, nuclear power, and the environment. Things that feel relevant today as well, right? There were differences though. One of them was that our world was the grown-ups world. No internet, no Twitter, no YouTube, no TEDx. Everything we read, and this may sound a bit strange, everything we read was written by people older than ourselves. Even our thoughts were sort of filtered through the adult mind because they were the ones writing the articles and carrying out the interviews, right? Again, this may sound a bit strange, but the Malala Yousafzais, the Greta Thunbergs, and the Emma Gonzalez's of the time would have found it very, very difficult to find a platform. The grown-ups always seem to have the upper hand, both in debate and in decision-making. And the magical word they used on us all the time was experience. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever been told the phrase such as, great idea, but it's not really realistic? Or, with more experience, you will come to realize. Or, the one I dislike the most, one day you will learn. Have you heard that? I would assume that if you did, you would be as frustrated as we felt back then. And you know what? You should be frustrated. And the reason why you should be frustrated is felt complexity. First of all, the complexity of your abilities. You are so much better equipped to deal with these kind of issues than we ever were. Secondly, the complexity of the issues at stake today. Let me give you an example. When I was young, the big issue, a really scary one, I guess the equivalent to today's climate change, was something that we all understood was really bad. It was nuclear war. It was a kind of gun control issue which consequences everyone, even the decision makers, realized. Is this what the world looks like today? I don't think so. The issues we talk about today are the advancement of technology, artificial intelligence. What is that? Do we know? Do we understand the consequences of it? Antimicrobial resistance. Superbugs that could kill us all in a matter of weeks. Do we really understand what that is? Or, the biggest one possibly, climate change, where everyone agrees that this is happening, but no one does anything about it, or that's what it seems. Isn't that really complexity? These issues demand, or put more demands, or better demands, high demands, on the decision makers. And it also requires more perspectives. Without applying any political values or claiming to know the people in this picture, I'm not that old. If we were to, thank you for the laugh, if we were to assemble a group that would make an informed decision on, let's say, a topic like women's health or reproductive rights, would this be the group we would turn to? Maybe not. Again, without applying any political values or knowing the personal qualities of this group of people, maybe it looks a little bit more diverse, wouldn't you say? Though I am missing one demographic segment, of course, young ones. If we were to assemble a group to address climate change, maybe we could agree that this would be a good start to do so. I'm not a statistician like my fellow countryman and TED talker, the late Hans Rosling, but we can apply some common sense here, I think. Talent is evenly spread across geography, gender, and generations. If we see this as the entire pool of talent, this should then represent the demographics of the world, right? We would have young, old, women, men. Let's start with this. Women and men. And I do apologize, I don't have any data for people who identify as binary. And I also didn't take into account that there are actually slightly more women in the world than men. But this would be a start, wouldn't it? We also know that 1/4 of the world's population is 15 years old or younger. If we add young people up to the age of 25 and subtract the very youngest, we arrive at a similar figure. 1/4, and that's the top segment there. Hans Rosling reminded us that literacy is up. Girls in school have gone up by 1/3 in my lifetime only. And if we also continue this thought, that looking at these complex issues, for instance, the advancement of artificial intelligence, wouldn't you say that it would be pretty good to have a generation who grew up in a digitalized world helping us out with those? I struggle to download an app, for instance, so I think we need some help there. I think it also is fair to say that the generation that has everything to lose on climate change should have a powerful voice in helping us sort out this terrible problem. If we carry out a little experiment now, and I'm not saying this is the case, I'll leave it to you to decide, but let's say that we were to exclude some of these groups from the decision making. Let's have a look what's left. And I'm going to take away the women and the young ones. What do we have left? Well, it's something considerably smaller than the thing we started with, right? We also have to ask ourselves the question, when we are going to replenish this pool, when we're going to fill it up again, because we are. There are government posts to be filled. There are executive board of director positions to be recruited. What are we going to substitute those level 1 women and young people with? Are we substituting our A team with B team members from another demographic? Think about this for a second. I'm going to click back to a slightly more encouraging picture. I think we'll keep that for the rest of the speech. I have the utmost respect for experience and knowledge. Otherwise, I don't think I would have dedicated my career to working in education. Experience can come quickly. You only touch your hot plate once, hopefully. Or it can take longer, such as discovering that don't wait until the night before the deadline to write the paper. Experience is taught by mistakes. We also learn from education, and we learn from history. Expertise and experience will always be important. For instance, if I told you to come up with the right balance of fiscal and monetary policy to stay off an oncoming recession, I think most of us would hesitate. It could very well be the fact that it wouldn't be a 14-year-old person who came up with the optimal answer. But saying that, right now, the entire world is listening to a girl who at the age of 14 thought that the older generation had failed us in not addressing an issue that she felt was really, really important. Greta Thunberg, sorry, that's how you pronounce it. Her contribution is not to provide knowledge, but to give us a broader picture and point in the right direction of where the expertise is. I'm just enjoying the moment for a second here. I'll tell you a little story. At the airport, coming here to Tarsus, I had a symbolic moment. It came in the shape of a sandwich. A piece of freshly made bread, hopefully, some cheese, a leaf of lettuce. It was wrapped in plastic, sorry to say, and it had a label on it. A label with a date. The best before date. Of course, I checked the date, knowing that it would probably be edible after the expiry date. But this was clearly the point or a case of the fresher, the better. However, to wash down the sandwich and possibly make me sleep a little bit easier on the plane, I also decided to buy a bottle of wine. Small one, not a big one. This also had a label. And of course, this time I also checked it. But now with a slight different purpose, from a slightly different perspective. Clearly, a freshly made Burgundy would not be as appealing as an older vintage. Clearly, this was a case of the older, the better. Now, my analogy may be a bit crude, but I think you see the point. In order to create the best possible meal for me, I had to mix two contradicting perspectives. I had to mix maturity, the old, and freshness. And I think it's important for us to realize that these two will always have a role to fill, both maturity and freshness. Let me tell you a story, and this is a story from my world, my school. I have the most amazing school, the most amazing students. I love to brag about them. They are intelligent, they are thoughtful, they are lovely. But I think the most important thing for me is that they are also respectful towards each other. However, as in all schools, bullying occurs. You know bullying when people are treating each other badly. Many years ago, we had a case. It involved one of our youngest pupils, a little boy. It was one of those cases where we as staff struggled, because it was all very subtle. You know, kids can be lovely, but they can also be cruel and sometimes a bit refined, manipulative even. When we asked the student and his tormentors, or addressed them, they said, no, it's fine. Even the victim said, no, please, it's fine, we're just joking. We struggled. At the same time, we had a senior student, a girl. She had a heart of gold and an attitude. And she was one of those people, you know, don't cross her path because something bad will happen. She was intimidating. One day, she walked through the hallway and she stumbled upon this as a scene where the classmates were surrounding the poor little boy. She recognized the signs, but she didn't do anything. She walked past, but she had taken notice. A week later or so, same thing was repeated. But this time she took action. She walked up to the little boy. The tormentors scattered. And you can imagine what that little boy thought was going to happen. She put her hand in her pocket. She took out a pen and a piece of paper. While she's scribbling on a piece of paper, she said with a loud and clear voice that everyone could hear, "If anyone ever messes with you again, you give me a call." Bam! Case closed. I told the story to some colleagues of mine, and some of them smiled and said, "Well, thank goodness for that." But some others said, well, they frowned, and they said, "This is not the right way to deal with this. We should all sit down. We should make everyone understand why bullying is bad. We have policies, and we have procedures, binders full of them, and we certainly can't allow students to take control of this. We have to be in control." Now, I see their point of view, of course, but I also understand my senior student who didn't ask permission when she saw a situation that she felt no one was correcting. I also know for a fact that that little boy never looked like the victim again. I don't have the pleasure of knowing Ms. Greta Thunberg. I never met her, I probably never will, but I'm a big fan. I also know that she did not ask permission when she felt that the older generation failed the cause that was very dear to her and should be to all of us. I assume that many people have complained about her, questioning her motives, and I also assume and hope she cares little about this. My point is that if I were to put together a group of climate experts or climate activists to solve this issue, she would be the first one I would call, even if she would say, no, we should call the scientists first. I'm not trying to present empirical or statistical evidence why we should ask the best of the best, young, old, male, women, for advice. But I want to raise the issue. I would like to challenge all of you out there who are my age, working in government, organizations, schools, or the industry. Seek out young talent. Find the best you can and pay attention to what they have to say. Because trust me, you will not be disappointed. And I would also like to challenge those of you who are young and want to make a contribution. Never allow anyone my age to dismiss you by saying that I have more experience and I know more about the world than you do. If they tell you one day you will learn, you say back to them, no, with all due respect, today I will teach. Thank you very much for listening. Tack så mycket.